on this episode of Edge of the Web.
One of the big things for us is when we started, it was, we had a lot of competition, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I think is the big problem with most businesses out there that are struggling is they're not unique enough.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
Like I said, welcome back to The Edge. Hey, we're broadcasting from Edge Media Studios, located in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Every week we bring you the latest trends in digital marketing, as well as marketing influencers from around the planet. Check out all the recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We're powered by Site Strategics, the title sponsor of the show, focused on the agile digital marketing method and execution. So if you're interested in what we do over at on the company side of things, go check out sitestrategics.com and inquire. We'd love to be able to sit down and talk to you about what agile means and what kind of success we could bring to your marketing efforts. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks. I'm the CEO of Site Strategics and Edge Media Studios. The reason we do this show is regularly to be able to bring you, our audience, some great understanding of digital marketing from great practitioners and influencers around the planet. Like I said, these are specialists. These are fantastic individuals that are wanting to jump in and be able to help kind of debunk and demystify some digital marketing tactics. And there's always things to learn. And this is why we do this with the show. For the second reason is because we constantly have to educate ourselves, keep our powder dry, so to speak, and make sure that we're bringing these type of tactics to our own clients on a regular basis. So it's a bit of a discipline, but it's also it's a labor of love as well. To my left, we have Tom Broadbeck, Director of Digital Media here.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going good. A little bit tired this week, actually. It's been a long week.
Yeah,
I
bet.
It is. But I'm going to bounce right back, and I don't know. Just I'm gonna own this thing.
There you go.
Yeah. And on the horn with us, we actually have Dr. Ben Adkins. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We are I'm not tired anymore because your backdrop is amazing, and I was going to complain about a couple problems I've got, soreness in my back and what have you, but you're here for a whole nother reason. But maybe you might give me some pointers to fix the lower lumbar.
I would love to, and if I could just master that digital adjustment, it would just take it to the next level.
Don't you have an app for that? I mean, can't we just?
I know. I keep thinking we're going to figure it out, but not yet. So.
All right, well, fine. Dr. Adkins is going to be able to talk to us about his Facebook agency and methodology, but we wanted to bring him on and contribute into the news of the show. So, Dr. Ben, are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so let's take you through the latest digital marketing news.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
Okay, so at the top of the list here, Search Engine Journal from Matt Southern, always putting out some great content. YouTube on desktop now plays vertical videos without the black bars, so at least it doesn't look that bad. But Tom, tell us why should we be focused on vertical videos first, and then what did YouTube do to make them at least palatable?
Yeah, so YouTube rolled out this new vertical video format for the mobile, but they hadn't rolled it out for desktop. So this is essentially applying that update to the desktop. But I mean, vertical videos are important because that's the way people hold their phones, and so that's people look at videos. It is kind of annoying when you play a video and it's horizontal video and you're holding your phone vertical.
See, that's my point.
And so
it's laziness, people.
Sure, but I mean, you gotta adapt to the way that people are using it.
I know.
So this rolls out for not only for vertical video, but also the older video that's shot in 4:3. Mm-hmm. This will also eliminate the black bars on the side. So
I think they ought to do what they used to do by putting 16:9 movies on the 4:3 TVs. They would actually pan and zoom pan across the screen to be able to showcase the action. If you ever see that, a 16 on a 4:3 TV, you don't get the whole thing. But this was before Letterbox. Okay. They would actually move the angle of the shot around based on the art director who thought what would be more interesting. Huh. So they were doing their own editing of the movie. All right, so that's a complete squirrel that I chase. Ben, what do you think about vertical videos? Give me your real honest opinion.
You know, I think it's funny. We've kind of got away from the whole let's teach people how to do something the right way. No, you know what? I've seen this trend over the last week or two, and I'm just like, okay, I guess that's the next thing. Oh, that's interesting to me. That's when you know you're getting old, is when you're getting annoyed by the coolest, latest trends. So, yeah.
Just turn the phone on the side, you dare whippersnappers. Is that what you're saying there?
It's the get off our lawn of our age. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but if you watch a horizontal video on your while you're holding your phone vertical, it's annoying to have to rotate it.
Oh yeah, and then you have those videos that keep on rotating as you're going. So you're like going
people
around
start a Facebook Live and they start it the way they're supposed to be, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm in TV. I'm supposed to do it horizontal."
Yeah,
and then the video's just sideways.
Then everybody kind of falls off the edge because all right.
I see the function of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, from John Constine over at TechCrunch, Facebook and Instagram. Listen to this, guys. This is awesome. Facebook and Instagram now show how many minutes you use them. All right. So here's the deal, guys. You know you have a problem on Facebook when Facebook tells you you've used it too much. So what Facebook is doing is they're actually laying out, and Instagram obviously they're laying out some raw data on the count of minutes that you've spent in the apps each day in the last week, plus the average across the week to be able to make users mindful of how much time they're spending on said applications, right? Is that a risk? Is that a huge risk to remind somebody how much you've been indulging inside of the app and not paying attention to the rest of the world?
Aren't you seeing their new commercials, Aaron?
They're so they're caring so much about the users and the user experience. Does anybody? There's a show of hands. Does anybody really want to know how much time you're really spending on Facebook?
No, I get a notification from our phone provider that lets us know how much data we've used. And that always is surprising of how much I use and how much time I use YouTube videos to keep my daughter from crying in the back seat. Calm her down. Play some Moana on repeat YouTube video.
Well, you got to download.
I just need to download it. Yes, I just need to download it.
I got an 18-year-old who literally sucks 60% of my data down. So I'm now fencing him in, and about day 20. I'll put him on pause just to give him a jolt to make sure that he knows not to keep on streaming. He's gotten better. He's at 40%.
There you go.
I have a 30 gig plan.
That's what this is for.
God. Well, is it for parents as well? Parents of the kids? That'd be great. No, just chimed in there. If this was a tool to be able to show us how much our kids are on Facebook and Instagram, well, I really don't even want to know that.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet that probably wouldn't surprise me that that's coming with everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to point out here is that this only counts time used on the app,
not on
desktop.
Got it. Okay. All right, Ben. Do you have a? Well, I mean, you're on Facebook all the time, so this really doesn't apply to you, does it?
Well, I went out to eat pizza last night, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't step on the scale this morning, and I feel it's going to kind of be the same thing. I'm going to ignore it when I know it's been bad. Mm-hmm. But no, I think it's a good PR move on their part because maybe they're facing some PR problems right now, and those commercials that have rolled out that you've seen, it's very interesting to see what they're doing. And you know what? I think to stay relevant, you got to do those things. And, I think it's going to be very interesting to see. And when we go to clients to show them, yes, your people are on Facebook, and then pull up their phone and show them how long they've been on. I think it's a very effective tool for us.
Good idea.
Just think about HR, and if they can actually get an idea of all the employees and how much time the employees actually spend on
that
Facebook.
Could be interesting.
Oh,
that
God.
Could be really interesting.
You'd have a mass exodus of people leaving.
Yeah.
That employer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard tell of Facebook safe zones. In fact, we were actually doing business with one client that actually, in 11 different locations, banned on their Wi-Fi all Facebook and social media activity.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh. Now, that was several years back, and I'm sure the social media policy has changed. But, I think it is a good PR move, but my gosh, you're right. I mean, do you really want to know how much time you're actually flipping through and swiping on these screens? Well, Facebook is actually making it a little bit more utilitarian as well. From The Verge, Shoshana Wodinsky.
Yep.
First
That was
time.
good done.
All
That was
right. Facebook is actually making its navigation bar a little more personal. So what does a little bit more personal mean, Tom?
So right now there are 5. You have 5 icons that appear at the top or the bottom, depending on which operating software you have of the icon. So it's like your news feed, then the Explorer tab, and then like the Marketplace, and your notifications, and then like your general admin. But they want to adapt that so it'll be different for every user. And so if you happen to go to the Marketplace more frequently, that won't be your third option. That'll be your second option. Or if you like your notifications second, it will adapt to your uses. And so I could see how this could be not problematic, but it could be an issue for Facebook's really been pushing this Facebook Explorer. They're releasing new shows. I don't know if you've seen the Mike Rowe show.
No, no, I haven't seen it on Facebook yet.
Yeah, so they're doing stuff with him, and
cool.
And so that Explore tab, I still don't click on it.
I do not either.
And so I have a feeling that's just going to get hidden away, and I don't know what that means for Facebook video.
It's almost like your Facebook's own focus group, mass distributed, is that what elements are going to be useful if it rises to the top collectively on everybody's main 5 dashboard, and it's almost like a vote of preference from a billion people. Well, Ben, I mean, this is certainly right in your wheelhouse. So, what do you think about this customization? Is it going to pass the dashboard and into more of the feed side, and really kind of be a customized experience across the board?
I think number one, juxtaposed against what we just talked about, it's really interesting because this is a feature that is designed to keep you on Facebook longer versus what we just saw. So it's very interesting to see sort of the dual personalities of Facebook. But, what I think is really interesting is from a perspective of when we help clients, it's always putting together content that's going to show up, right? And it's going to get in front of the right folks. And what's going to start to come out a few months down the road is, you're right, they're going to start getting rid of certain things or decreasing certain things in the feed because nobody uses it anyway, and it's going to start showing up less because of that feature. And so I think what's interesting is the data that starts to come out to people like me from Facebook, because we all have our reps, we all have the folks that help us do what we need to do to work more with Facebook, and they're getting a lot better, by the way, of providing that stuff to us on a one-on-one basis. And so I think as they start to get that data, we're going to have a lot more at our fingertips so that we know what kind of content to create and where to place that content. And so I think this is a good step, unless they're trying to get people off the app from the previous story, like we said before. I think this is going to suck people in even more because they don't have to fumble around through things, or they don't accidentally hit a certain tab that they never use anyway, right?
Right.
So it's going to make us more, maybe it will decrease our time because it'll make us more efficient. But I think this is just, once again, Facebook making something that's more personal to all of us, and I think that's a great move.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly. I mean, they're dialing in a heck of a lot of things that aren't directly connected to monetization of the platform, and I think they figured out that they got to make this more useful and relevant and valuable from a utilitarian standpoint, because we're already hearing they're losing ground. Obviously, they lost a number of points on the stock market recently, but they're also using, there's a mass exodus of the youth leaving Facebook into these other platforms, and you got to give some vitality to the app at least.
Yep. They're all moving to Instagram, which Facebook owns still.
That's right. So something's over here. Right. Now you got a point.
It's all about entertainment and content. And I think that's what they're starting to say. We're not going to have the money side if we don't really pay more attention to this. And so it's that balance.
Yeah. It's a good realization, all things considered.
And Facebook mid-roll ads are still the worst. So
still the worst. Agreed.
We're going to certainly unpack that. But you know what's not bad? It's the newsletter that comes out each and every week talking about the edge of the web and who we've interviewed, as well as who we're going to be interviewing the following week. So you follow all these stories, all the links to the stories, as well as some of the insights we have. So sign up free of charge. If you want to text to the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, you can sign up right there. You can also just go over to Edge of the Web Radio and be able to sign up right there at the header of the site, and you'll be delivered nuggets of digital gold on a regular basis. And we won't use your email for anything else but doing just that. Dr. Ben, have you signed up yet?
Yeah, I'm actually. This was something leading up to this. I was like, okay, we're getting in there, and so I'm digging in. I'm starting to get this, and like I said, it's to me, it's how you keep up. Instead of me having to be all over the place for certain things, I've started to realize that you guys do this for me, and that's kind of nice.
I love it. That's what we're here for. All right, so follow all the featured trending topics over at edgeofthewebradio.com. So let's now deep dive with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for Edge of the Web featured interview with Ben Adkins, founder and CEO of Content DFY.
And there's a deep voice guy introducing Dr. Ben Adkins. So thanks for joining us on the show today, man.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
You're more than welcome. Let's introduce you to our audience. Dr. Ben is a licensed chiropractic physician and grew his own chiropractic practice with Facebook marketing. So, man, you this is a whole different skill set that you started off with than what you've developed there. And he also created the Closers Cafe blog when he realized that other local businesses needed effective marketing. So, Dr. Ben has actually been a highlighted keynote speaker all over the country, including Traffic and Conversion Summit and social media marketing world. Great accolades there. This is a very unique story, something that we don't usually hear that often. Someone from an entirely different industry jumping in and taking a hold of digital marketing tactics. So lay it on us. How in the world did this happen?
There was no plan to be a digital marketer. There really wasn't for me. I was big into, healthcare, being a chiropractor and helping people to, get back to work when they, sit at the computer too long, or, they have a job that's a little harder on their lower back. That was my thing. I made some mistakes early on. I think as a lot of people do when they get into businesses. I didn't budget enough money for marketing. I didn't have, necessarily the best location when I started out. And what I mean by that is there was plenty of people that were like my ideal market. And that's what I was looking at. But the competition was pretty stiff. So I got going, guys. And I tell you what, the first week that I was in practice, I had one person show up. And that was my accountant. And I think he was just trying to lock in my business. So I don't know if that even counts. But so I knew pretty quickly I had to get something going. So the nice part about being not super busy is you have some time in front of a computer. And so I really started leveraging Facebook heavily. Google, all kinds of things. We had some SEO stuff going, but the primary driver of business for me was Facebook. And in about 6 months, I had a chiropractic business that was as big as people that had been there 20 years. And wow. that was primarily due to what we were doing on Facebook. We had I tried everything when we were first started, but there was a few things that worked really, really well, kind of 80-20 rule. And so we started doing more of those things. And that's why we sort of shot up really fast. The really interesting thing is when that happens to you, people that are around you take notice. And we started getting a lot of businesses that were hitting me up and saying, hey, can you come help us? And, my wife was like, okay, if you're going to be outside of the practice doing other work, you should probably charge people for it. And I was like, okay, so that's when I started an agency to help people. And, it was completely because my wife said, you better get paid if you're not going to be at home after work. And she's awesome, by the way. I'm embellishing a little bit, but she kind of put me down that path. And then something interesting happened. Like I said, about 6 months in, I got really busy with my chiropractic practice. I had a few clients. I had more people that wanted us to take it on. And I said, I can't do this. So I started, what I thought was super, novel at the time and nobody else was doing. I started writing down what we were doing so that I could sell it to people that way. Of course, everybody had been doing that forever. And people started buying it and it started leaking out and getting shared on the web. And we started having people from all over the world that were buying these videos and these, little ebooks that were teaching what I was doing in my chiropractic practice. And pretty quickly I looked up and realized that there was a much bigger sort of mission for me to not only, implement strategies and to develop strategies for my clients and myself, but to teach, in a much bigger way. And so one day I looked up and realized that I was a digital entrepreneur who was selling a lot of information as well as running an agency and marketing my business myself. So it's one of those things where sometimes I think we don't know where we're going to be, but if we're solving our own problems, the path just sort of lays itself out there. So that's sort of how I got here. If that gives you a good background.
That is a great background, and it gives a lot of relevancy to the crossover from digital marketing discipline where you start learning a lot of different industries, as opposed to the learning the digital marketing tactics with native knowledge of messaging, of information inside of an industry. And we've heard it a couple times actually, but learning the Facebook practices and developing that deep skill set, but armed with knowing exactly what your particular industry prospect would be looking for because you're natively wired that way, is a huge advantage as opposed to, digital marketers trying to acclimate themselves into the chiropractic industry, right?
Yeah. I think that's the thing is there's a lot of things that happen when you've worked or you've owned a brick and mortar, like you've actually had to pay rent somewhere, right? And there's a lot of things that happen in your brain that are very hard if you've never done that to translate. And so anytime I go in and work with a client, there's always an extra set of concerns that we're thinking about when we're meeting with them. I think that a lot of folks that start off in digital don't really have it. And let me tell you, there's folks that start off with digital, I'm not knocking them. I think they're a lot smarter than I am because they started off in digital, right? But that's the thing is when you're working with clients that actually have a brick and mortar, that's a big concern. There's a lot of things and expenses that you don't have with the digital businesses. And so when we start putting things together, that's something that we really have to take into account. And if you are someone that just has always been in digital, you need to go talk to somebody and be like, what are the things that you actually have to face day to day? And that arms you with a whole new set of skills and knowledge that you can take into actually driving, leads and putting points on the scoreboard for them.
Very good. If you could indulge me one quick second, I need to put something on the scoreboard for our title sponsor. Site Strategics is a proud sponsor of Edge of the Web Radio. I wanted to share with its listeners a really cool offer. We provide digital marketing strategies to our clients regularly and focus on return on investment of those strategies. Isn't that what you want to know about your ongoing marketing, whether or not it's paying off for you? So would you like to discover that marketing ROI? Why not have a second opinion? And you can certainly contact us and be able to give you a snapshot, a report of your digital marketing efforts and how they lead to money in the bank for you. So we're offering a 30% discount on the digital marketing ROI report. You can learn your digital marketing strengths, weaknesses, and threats. We cover the gamut of SEO, social media, search engine marketing, even email marketing if you're doing something like that. We can get a whole diagnostic, very similar to getting an understanding of what's ailing you in chiropractic. Right?
Nice.
I had to connect it somehow. So we're the physicians of marriage. So jump on over to the URL, edgeofthewebradio.com/ROI. Just give us some information and we can start a conversation with you about seeing what ails you and what we could possibly work out to fix some of your digital marketing alignment problems.
There we go.
How many dad jokes could we get in there?
I don't know. We need to have like a bell.
Right.
So Ben, I don't know, the old Colts coach spoke in cliches all the time. He got fired this last year, but all he did was speak in cliches. And so some local guys, every time they do a press conference, they play it and they'd have a little bell, one of those little metal bells that would ding whenever he'd do a cliche. So I think so.
Analogies, metaphors, and cliches. But literally years ago, almost like a decade, about 8 years ago. And you were a culprit of this as well, as the old staff members at Site Strategics started up a Twitter feed of shit that Sparks says. And every analogy, every mixed metaphor made its way to that feed, by the way.
I love that.
I've got to find this, see if it's still around anymore. Anyway, one key point I wanted to bring up as well is not only did you have, Doctor, a very focused industry knowledge that you could parlay for digital marketing, but you are also practicing your Facebook and digital marketing tactics to your success, to your own organization's success. And there is something also very, very impactful, because this is your livelihood, not a digital agency working for multiple clients. This was, although that's very important, and all marketing agencies need to take that level of seriousness, but this was right at home for you. You had to make it work, right?
Yeah, and going into that, it was absolutely make or break for us. I mean, that was my business, so it was we were going to do whatever it took, and going into actually working with clients. That's always the way that we look at it too. It doesn't matter that most of our clients are doing really great already and they just need to get to the next level. We always look at it as this is the path that they have to take and this is where they need to be. And so when we go in and we deliver their services, which are a lot different than what you guys do, you guys have some great stuff. I'm going to be talking to you about that later. But, that's the thing with the stuff that we provide and that we do. It's always taking what's unique about a place and putting a megaphone behind it. But it's always with the knowledge, like you said, that this is the path to the next level. And we have to take that seriousness that it's our own. And I think that as an agency, that is the most important thing, is that you bring people on like you are an owner of that business.
You have to have that. That's where the connection really rides, and you have to be able to instill that with everybody that works in an agency on behalf of those clients, because you can get really distant. And with any agency owner or anybody who's been in an agency, you can see different types of level of care and intensity, as people work. But more importantly, if you don't connect it to this company that you're working for has employees that it's trying to take care of, if you don't have that in front of you, right, then it doesn't really have the connection, because you can marginally. I don't want to wax poetically here, but you can't take it nearly as seriously if you don't put that right in front of you on a regular basis.
Right. And, one of the big things for us is when we started, it was, we had a lot of competition, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I think is the big problem with most businesses out there that are struggling is they're not unique enough. And, that's something that was a hard lesson that I had to learn really quickly in my own practice, and that we've tried to translate to any of our clients is, you cannot, especially this day and age with what's going on and all the distractions out there, you cannot stand out just with good customer service anymore. You cannot stand out just by being just like everybody else. You literally have to have something that is unique about you, or very niche about what you do in your market. And then that's what the web's for. Like, that's what you use the web for, is to amplify that. Because if you have something that's just pretty boring and run of the mill, it's just like with any sort of advertising. It's going to be okay. It's going to drive a few people in, but you're not going to see that explosive growth that the person that's very specialized will. And so it's very interesting when you start looking real deep at it.
Absolutely. So outside of philosophy, right? Can you share with our audience, because I wanted to tee up those two factors of not only industry knowledge but also personalization, because this was you're either making money or you're not, and it's
Right.
your organization. Can you share some of the mistakes that you've made when first starting out into this? Now, you certainly have a number of agencies now, but whenever you first got started embracing this, share with us some of this.
So when I started my agency, or even when I started my chiropractic practice, there was 8 other chiropractors there or something like that. When I started my agency, there's plenty of agencies out there doing the things that I'm doing. So what we have to really specialize in is, number one, a certain niche. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people make when they first put their agency together, or they first put their business together, is they don't specialize down at something. And so just to put it into my agency, Content DFY, right? We focus on chiropractors almost exclusively. Now, do we have other people that are clients that aren't chiropractors? Of course. But none of our marketing is aimed at those folks. We are aimed at chiropractors, but more specifically, even getting deeper into that, we're aimed at chiropractors who are doing something unique. So when I take on a chiropractor, they better, if they're not doing it already, they better be ready to transition to this. We have to have a chiropractor that is a specialist at helping pregnant ladies with low back pain. Like, it gets down that specific, because that marketing speaks to a certain audience, and that audience will tell their friends too. Or knee pain. We say, are you really good at knees? Focus on that. So a lot of the clients that we take on, one of the core factors is our niche is chiropractors with specialties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for them, they have to be very much a specialist at something, because, like I said, right now, if you're not a specialist, you're in trouble. And that's the number one mistake that I made when I first started. Is I started my agency, I started my office, and I was like, everybody come. And what happened was, people had no idea how to talk about us behind our back, because there was nothing special. And that's the core thing. How do people talk about your business behind your back? And if you give them something that's specific, yes, you're going to be scaring away some audience, but you're also going to bring in a lot more of the people that you're directly talking to. And what's so great about, having a brick and mortar business is 90% of the businesses out there won't do that. And that's why they'll just exist and sort of make it, but they won't keep going. The ones that really specialize start to see that really rapid uptick of growth. And from our agency to the clients that we work with, that's what we're seeing. And like I said, I wish I didn't know. I knew it, but I hadn't experienced it when I started. So I had to make the mistake myself. That was absolutely the biggest mistake I've made in any business, is not specializing enough when we started.
But isn't that at the core of marketing? Is that unless you bring that unique piece to the audience, if you're tepid as an agency in marketing a client, right, and you're not doing that buyer's journey mindset, you're not going to find what that client can really do for its audience that it does that nobody else does the way they do it. If you're not finding that, then you don't really know how to move it in front of the target client, right?
Yeah. Hey, that's the thing. We've worked with, even restaurants that we were like, okay, you're a burger joint.
Mm-hmm.
You got great burgers, but there's 20 other burger joints in town. And even going in and saying, hey, from this point forward, you need to have a hamburger that's $100. And just something as simple as that helped them stand out.
Yep.
And it's not incredibly hard to have something that is yours and to niche out and to do something crazy, but most people don't do it because they don't want to scare anybody away. So I think that's the key. It's just like you said, if you don't have that core layer, none of the other fancy stuff that we do on top of it stands up.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So getting onto the tactics of Facebook marketing, because Facebook environment is a different environment than the online search consumers.
Mm-hmm.
One user can obviously operate in a number of different platforms, but for Facebook, it's community. Facebook is a heck of a lot of a relationship mindsets inside of the Facebook, and obviously advertising has made its way there over the years, and the Facebook user is accustomed to that. But Instagram's a different type of pursuit than Facebook. Twitter, God forbid you put all their money into Twitter, but Twitter's a different type of exchange. The users are wanting to get something different than they're looking for inside of Facebook, right? So there's a relationship component inside of Facebook. Choosing Facebook as the delivery, especially with the services that you provide, right? Did you find yourself being able to get shared and be able to get really advocated inside of that environment?
Yeah, it's just not what most people think.
Mm-hmm.
When you have people searching for you because they have a problem, that's a much different conversation. Facebook, like you said, is about community. And so what you want to do is you want to put content. Facebook is about content, and content spreads. Opt-in pages, sales pitches don't. One of the number one rules that we always kind of give our clients, and that I learned myself in my own practice, was don't talk about the chiropractic office. Don't talk about how chiropractic can help people, because that's usually too early in the relationship on Facebook. What you need to do is teach somebody, put out a real quick article or a video, a 1 to 2 minute video that shows somebody how to get rid of their headache. If it's a tension headache, you do that, it's game over. Anybody that we've ever had that puts these 1 to 2, and this is part of what we do with our clients, we help them take the stuff that they do in their offices every single day with the people that have walked through the door, and we help them package that information into something that is content on Facebook. And that's the thing where most people miss about Facebook, is it is a great indoctrination engine. And what's so great is if you indoctrinate one person on Facebook, it is a button click away to share it with all of their friends. And so the past of Facebook, the future of Facebook, is all about what kind of content can you put out there that is related to your business, that is useful and is shareable. And that's the core of it. If I put an ad behind a video that is helping somebody with their headaches, that is going to be a huge ROI in comparison to if I just put out an offer over time too. And that's what's so great. When we're working with clients, I say, this promotion may work for a month or two. If you put this video together, the next 5 to 10 years, this piece of content, this work that you put in, the ad dollars that you put behind it, it's going to be much, much, much more powerful.
That's an awesome perspective right there, because there's so many offers, there's so much garbage in the marketing space and all these platforms. That even not only the utilitarian factor, but that stands out so much larger than any other types of ads. But on top of it, you're useful. You're bringing something, and along with it, you're actually caring about that end consumer so much to be able to provide them something free. That's a transaction for that consumer that they can use. Right? There's no BS on the marketing offer side. You're actually breaking that barrier and providing something useful.
I think we all do this. We all look for tricks. We all look for tactics and techniques that'll give us a little bit of an edge. But at the end of the day, it's seriously, it's how useful can you be to your target audience? And if you're useful, your phone rings and people find you. And I saw a great interview. I'm a big Foo Fighters fan, by the way.
Sweet.
I saw a great interview with, Dave Grohl, and he's talking about American Idol. And he was like, it's cool. He's like, but let's be honest. If you're good, people are going to find you. That's the key. If you've got something that's unique to offer and you've really honed your craft to be good at it,
right,
people do find you. It's the tricks that we have to use, the marketing tricks that we have to use to push out stuff that's kind of a mediocre product sometimes. But that's the thing. And I know you guys can attest to this too. When we have a client that's really unique and we just give them that megaphone with the SEO and the Facebook stuff, it works, and it works so easy. And those are the best clients because there's such a good back and forth. And so a lot of what we do in our agency is we take somebody that's doing something, just slogging it out every day in their practice, and they're teaching and they're doing it one-on-one. And we give them sort of that megaphone to where now we turn it into a video, we turn it into a podcast, we turn it into a PDF. And it turns that stuff they're doing every day into something that we can just put online, and it spreads, and people share it all over the place. And we have local chiropractic clients that have stuff that's on the other side of the world because it was that useful. And, if you can get something to spread that way, you're going to do really well versus your local competitors. So it's been a good tactic, but it's absolutely foreign to a lot of us marketers at first. And we tend to go against it for some reason.
Well said. Well said. It's just, it's a simple message, and it gets lost inside of marketing.
Yeah. So I want to kind of go back to when you were first starting your that first week when you had nobody there, and you decided to jump into Facebook. So is that how you started, or did you just what tactics did you try before you really saw that growth?
I started, I was talking about the benefits of chiropractic, and I was just
organically, or were you doing ads? Or?
Well, no, just organically. And so I always had this thing that I was like, okay, we have two sort of layers to it. I had my business page and I had my personal page, right? Mm-hmm. People will follow them both for different reasons. And so I started talking about chiropractic, and that fell flat on its face. People just didn't care. They weren't looking for chiropractic on Facebook. They were looking for fun. And so I sort of started going a different route. And please don't laugh or make fun of me for this, because every time I mention it, someone says that's the dumbest thing. I hate when people do that.
No guarantee.
Yeah, it's okay. Every day when I went to lunch, this was how it started, and this is where it clicked for me. I would just, I started, once there was something really fancy looking, and I thought the restaurant was cool. I took a picture of it, and I posted it. And I know it's the standard, oh my God, stop posting your food, right? But what was really interesting is I didn't realize it at the time, but now I do. People connected with that because they say, you know what, I like to eat. I eat too. Not everybody goes to the chiropractor. Not everybody buys into that, but they identified with me on a human level because they had been to that restaurant the day before. Or they had had that before. And so they started connecting with me because we both liked certain things. And so I started doing that. And then I started going to, Chamber of Commerce functions, charity events, local groups. And I would talk about them and I would take pictures at them. And people locked in with that. And what's so funny is people started filling my practice up because they felt like they knew me. And they trusted that whatever I was going to put in front of them, the product, was going to be something that was good because they trusted me. So that was the big disconnect for me at first, is I thought that I had to put the product out there. Mm-hmm. And, anybody that does like a multi-level marketing or a network marketing thing, it's all about the product. No, it's not about the product. It's about you. And so if you can do things on social media to humanize your business or humanize the star of your business, whoever that centerpiece is, and this is what my agency mostly does. We just make someone the celebrity of the business, and then we make them a celebrity locally. And then people will buy whatever product that they're, they'll listen more to the other stuff. And so that was it. I went from a lot of pitching, a lot of this is what chiropractic is, to none of that, just talking about the community And then people went and found a lot of the other videos that we had done that were about that because we'd warmed them up. And so they watched that and they were like, okay, I got a little bit, let me call. And so that filtered people through. So it was always if we're not inventing the content, what am I going through in my day to day? Because I got to eat,
Yep.
And I got to go to this stuff and I've already on my schedule. What could I do to turn that into content? And if you got someone that's so busy that they can't do that stuff, how do you get them to block out a week of their time to build content that could be that for the rest of the year? And so, that's what it was. We started putting out more I'm a human content. You're a human too. We do the same stuff. But then also, this is the teachable stuff that I teach every day in my office or business that I can teach you without you having to come in. And that's the stuff that got the phone ringing.
I think he's channeling the Dr. Pepper commercials. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a...
I have no idea what that
is.
I love it.
You're absolutely right. And we just talked to another Facebook advertiser here just recently, and literally the same concept is you've got to have relationships first before you can sell anything. Inside of the Facebook community, you've got to be trusted. The only way to build trust is to be real, be human, and yeah, I've got a business, and yeah, we can serve you, but it's connection first, right?
Yeah, and there's ways to make that more efficient, because I think that when everybody that I first tell that to, they're like, oh my God, I got to be carrying my phone around all day and take pictures and post. I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. But there's absolutely a way to take your humanity and build all that content in a chunk, and then leak it out over, a long period of time. And I think that's the really cool thing about what we've got tech-wise now that I didn't have when I first started on Facebook, that makes it a lot easier, is you can put yourself out there, you can put that content out there, but not feel like you're carrying your phone around and having to keep up with it all the time.
That's great. In the local business practice standpoint, there's also a huge measurement of effectiveness of marketing, and that's foot traffic in the local establishments. So how can a brick and mortar business use Facebook to generate more foot traffic? I mean, you're in the same business for your clients, their foot traffic. It's not just this distant professional service. They got to have people walk in the door. So from a localization standpoint, how do you get them moving?
Number one, if you have a Facebook page right now, you've got to be posting on it, and you have to be posting regularly. We have our clients post 2 times a day. Now, they don't do any of that work. We do all the work for them, but there's always placeholder content that's educational. And so that's a big one. The next thing is once I sit down with the client, I get them to shoot 20 to 30 videos in a day. Mm-hmm. So we'll pre-plan all this out. It's 1 to 2 minutes. They teach something. We roll that out there. And then what we're doing with that is, with the client's existing folks, we will get a sense of what content connects. So I have 20, 30 videos that I had them shot. We'll start leaking them out. We'll put a little bit of ad spend behind them, just a little bit of a boost. We don't get super complicated with it, but we'll put a little boost behind it to the local community. And what starts to happen, and it's very interesting, you'll have certain things that you thought were going to take off that don't. But then you'll have things that completely from left field take off, and they start to go viral in that local community, or they're really useful, they're really popular. And then what we do from there is, we always have, on the Facebook page and, somewhere around the video, we will have a phone number that's, we can track. It's a trackable phone number. It's not like the core number of the business. Mm-hmm. So we'll track it that way, so we can actually, quantify what we're doing. But what happens is, you'll have, out of 30 videos, you'll have maybe 3 to 5 of them that really take off. And when we do this early stuff with clients, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, what is the content that we posted for you, that when we put a little bit of money behind it, not much, we're talking literally like $10 a day,
sure,
sometimes even less, but that content takes off. And so what we do is, we stop putting money behind the other stuff. We put more money behind that. Plus, we'll go back to a client and say, hey, I need 10 more of this particular thing. And then we have this library of things that people want to share. And, it's not a direct get in here right now, but it does drive traffic through the door. And you can track it through the phone numbers. And so to me, that's the big thing, is when we work with a client, number one, they have to be unique, right? Number two, they have to be willing to get on camera or talk or do an interview with us so we can turn it into content. And then after that, they've got to put a little money behind this content on Facebook so people can see their face, can hear their voice, and humanize them, and share it around. Once we start figuring out the content that works for an office that has a certain specialty, you can pretty much push that content year round, and it will drive phone calls. It will drive people through the door. And once people start seeing that, it's a lot easier to get them in to cut more videos because they know why they're doing it.
They finally see traction, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're almost kind of rolling out an online focus group. All right, everybody, give me your responses to that, and then you pick the horse, right, or horses, and then you keep on focusing on those interest points.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is it's exactly that. Most people don't leverage their existing, clients, the people that are already coming in. And that's the thing. You can put this in front of people that already love them and they'll tell them that. And you can send out an email from their email list to say, here's a couple things that may help you. And it comes off as very giving, but they'll tell you what they like more and what they want more of. And that's what we decide to do. So it's a dialing in process. But man, once you get it going, it's just a machine driving leads all the time.
Where do you get your topic ideas from? Just from the client or keyword research, or how are you coming up with those?
It's when I go into a chiropractor's office these days, I typically have a set of things that I know we're going to do. Right? It's we're going to talk about headaches. Even if you're a knee specialist, we're going to talk about some of this because it gets attention. But typically, if somebody's a specialist at something, they have this list of 10 to 20 things that throughout a 2 to 3 week period are just on rotation. It's, a patient comes in, they're talking about it. And that's what I kind of probe for. I'm like, what are the things that, just keep coming up that you're like, okay, I have to go through this spill. Like I had about 30 things in my office that every single week were on rotation that I had to tell that story or I had to walk somebody through that exercise. And so we do that. It's literally me sitting down with the client being like, okay, we got to come up with, we may not come up with all 30 right now, but we're going to talk about the things that you do. And once we get that down, it's very much what they're already doing 90% of the time. The other 10% is just, hey, I know this is going to fly pretty well from the clients that we've already had. If it fits with who we're trying to bring through the door, let's definitely cut this video, but in your voice.
Gotcha. And then I guess, pure organization's sake, how do you keep track of all those videos as you're shooting them? Because 30 videos on, are you holding up the old school placard saying this is this question just so it's easier for video editing, or how are you doing just, the kind of behind the scenes thing?
Typically, we'll go through and I start off old school. Like when I'm live, it is like this messy,
Sure.
pen and paper. And then as soon as I get off, while it's still fresh in my mind, I get back to either my hotel room or I get back to my house, I'll sit down and actually put it into like a spreadsheet so that I can keep track of everything and I know sort of where it's at. What I try to do is I try not to do, video shoots too close together because I want to be really in depth and really concentrated on this. So I'll gap my video shoots out. Now, when I pass it off to a video editor, I'm pretty much done until they bring back the product and I can compare notes. But I think that's the key. I've made the mistake of doing video shoots too close together before. And that was a little bit of a mistake. And, everything turned out fine, but I definitely had a week that I was not happy with. So like I said, for me, it starts off with pen and paper just because I can do stuff on the fly. I can keep track of what we covered. I can keep track of the topics we do. We just check it off and mark it off. And then I'll sort of make a note of what the timing was on the actual video. Okay. And then we'll go through. And when we get to editing, we'll actually put it into a spreadsheet so that, I don't feel like such a degenerate with my pen and paper.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's how we do it.
Cool.
I want to make best use of the remaining time. I really appreciate the insight on the back end because, that's from a production standpoint. A lot of clients of an agency don't understand the management that goes on behind the scenes to make sure everything's organized.
Right.
One thing in particular we hear regularly from our customers or our clients on how to accomplish this. Reviews inside of Facebook. There's certainly a community connection inside of Facebook. How important are reviews inside there? And do you assist, since it is a Facebook ecosystem, do you assist them in that space as well?
It's more of, what people don't realize about Facebook right now is the search box is actually turning into something very important. I can't tell you how many times I've been out and I just pulled up my Facebook app and I actually searched for the business there before I even went to Google. And so how that algorithm sort of works, and most people don't even pay attention to that algorithm, is number one, are you posting regular content? If you're posting regular content, you jump up in the search for that local area. And that's very interesting to me because, that's an advantage you can get very easily. Number two is reviews play into that. So I get super concerned about reviews when we start thinking about how can we drive more people easily. And what I typically do, it's the easiest thing in the world, but most businesses don't do it. We just help them set up signs in the office. I know it sounds stupid, it sounds old school, but literally we just had set up a sign that basically tells the people that just are in love with them already
Mm-hmm.
to go leave a review. And you could take a business in a week to 2 weeks. You can take a business with next to no reviews on Facebook, and they're extremely important. They're extremely important with no reviews on Facebook, and you can get people to go in and give 40 to 100 reviews in a week on a page, and that gives it a huge boost. But also the social proof of that is huge. Now, what we do with a lot of clients is we'll rotate it. We'll put up the sign for Facebook one week.
Yeah.
The next week we'll put up the Google review thing, and we'll kind of keep that going. And the patients or the people that are like just in love with your business and they're showing up a lot, they're going to go through the time to actually do it because they want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mind doing it in two, three different locations because they believe in what you're doing. And you just have to ask. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of times that ask is as simple as putting a sign up.
I keep on. There's so many simple thoughts here, and no offense.
No,
it's kind of breaking through some of the complexities, and these are best practices. Everybody, I mean, this is where you should be adopting a digital behavior. If you have a local business or professional service, these are things that you've got to discipline yourself to do. Because as a local business, you cannot be distant from the relevancy and the scenario that is the online presence. If you're not there, right? Somebody else is in that space, and they're going to be attracting that audience. It's an untapped audience for you to create your message, singularly point out what makes you different, and also have that relationship. It's so simple, but why is it so difficult sometimes?
Well, you're the technician in your own business, and
Yeah.
you could only focus on so much. And when I knew a lot of this stuff when I was a chiropractor, but I didn't do it because I was busy thinking about 100 patients at once and all the things that they needed to be doing to get well.
Right.
And so, that's our role as agencies. Our role is to be the eyes and the ears to come up and say, hey, this is super simple, but it's low hanging fruit. You do this, you're going to see a result. And, when you look for the low hanging fruit, later on, when you're doing the more difficult stuff, it becomes really easy because you did that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you guys, most of our clients pay for us just with the low hanging fruit stuff that we do for them.
There you go.
And then the other stuff's just, it's just a bonus. So I think it is. Most of the stuff is simple, but when you're in the business yourself, you don't have time to look for it because you're so busy with the other stuff.
Well, that's it right there. Lastly on the list, we were going to ask you about the Google My Business. Do you guys optimize the GMBs for your clients?
Yeah, we actually weren't doing that for a long time, and then I had a buddy that this was one of his core strategies to get his foot in the door with businesses was the Google My Business. And you start looking at it and you're like, why are we not doing that? That's so essential to being out there. And so we started doing a little while back under his instruction. And talk about something that, I know it's not always necessarily easy for a business owner to go do that because they don't have the technical background with it, but something that's so easy and takes very little time for us to go do for a business that has a huge long-term impact. Like I said, next 5 to 10 years, what impact that has for them is monstrous. And what I love about it for our clients is typically it's something that doesn't cost them a lot of money to do with us. And we can, it's super easy to get a staff member to do it for them to get everything confirmed. But it makes such a big impact. And for us, we love it because it sets the stage for the results that we're going to get them in other things. So I think that is, if you're just sort of starting out with an agency or you're in a business, that one thing, has turned into one of the highest ROI activities for something simple that you can do. So I love that.
Beautiful. Yeah, we highly recommend that whenever you get started looking at your online presence. You got to take a hold of that and make sure that you're keeping it fresh as well. And the QA environment is important. You got to be able to spend some time in that space because that's exactly where people are going to see you first.
Yep.
Well, Ben, it's been great speaking with you, and there's certainly a lot that you've unpacked today. Can I ask you, and we ask this of all of our guests, what bugs you in the industry right now?
People teaching that haven't done. If I could get down to it, I think that it's so easy to immerse yourself in a topic and really understand it and have tested things in about 2 weeks to a month. And that's what really bugs me when people aren't going through that work, because it's not like it's going to take you a year to get really good at a lot of the stuff that's out there, because now not only do we have the technology, we have a lot of great tutorials.
That's right.
On how to go and test it. So my thing is, whatever you're doing, don't be teaching someone else how to do. The worst relationships that people have, they're the ones that are always giving relationship advice. Isn't that funny how that seems to work? And it's the same thing with folks that are teaching online marketing a lot of times. And I think what you can really smell pretty quickly with somebody, if you have a discussion with them, is whether they're actually doing it or not. And look at people's results before you sign up with them, before you do anything with them. Look at their results. Look at who else they've worked with. Ask for a reference. I mean, nobody does that, right?
Yep.
But ask for a reference. And that's a simple phone call that you can make that will save you so much heartache. And because the folks that are actually doing it and moving the needle for people, they have no problem connecting you with one of their other clients that can speak to that.
Amen. Okay. Conversely, what excites you about the industry right now?
Technology, man. It's so easy to build a sales page. It's so easy to build a website. It's so easy to build a funnel. That's the thing. What we used to have to charge people to build certain things versus what we can do now for much less. And I love charging clients less for stuff because we've got a ton to offer. I want them to, use all of it because it gives us the ability to get more results. That's what I get excited about. Like, we're living in the easiest time right now, and I don't pine for the old days, with certain things that were easy to take advantage of. I like right now because I have never seen a portion of time in our industry where I can sign up for something that's $100 a month and do tons of things. And I think that there's just so many cool developers out there that are building things that are actually useful for us as agency holders, but also that the businesses themselves get a huge benefit out of.
Absolutely. It's a lot more inexpensive than it was, but you also have to be gun shy. Don't buy we'll get you top ranks for $300 a month, right?
When it comes to services, it's a different story.
Yeah, it is.
You can find a lot of good apps, but when you have people that are actually using those apps for you to do things, you got to go with somebody that, has a track record or, has a lot of hustle, at least, if you're giving somebody a chance. But I think that's the thing. You get what you pay for still. Yeah. And from a services standpoint, especially, you got to really watch. If it seems too good to be true, it definitely is.
Well, that's a great wrap up. Dr. Ben Adkins, we really appreciate your time today. Is there something that we can promote for you?
If anybody wants to go see the stuff that we do that actually works, when I do something that actually works, I write it down in the form of blog post at closerscafe.com.
Right.
And you can go there, check it out, and you can see all the fun shenanigans that we're up to, and hopefully steal some of it and use it for your business.
Excellent. So we have that on the screen. We're certainly going to have it in the show notes. So we want to implore our audience to go track Dr. Ben Adkins down at Ben Adkins, Adkins, Twitter. And you also have I Am Ben Adkins at Facebook. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, right.
You're the real Ben Adkins, as well as Dr. Ben Adkins on LinkedIn and Ben Adkins on Instagram. Any last words for our soon-to-be Facebook marketing professional services? They're going to take the bull by the horns and do what you did.
I say get in, get your hands dirty, and be a nerd about it. If you are going to be the one that's up way too many hours at night learning this stuff, then you're going to be the one that's going to be the most successful with it. So just get your hands dirty. I think that's the key to all this.
There you are. Get your hands dirty and do what you preach out there, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Ben. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and we certainly are going to be lifting you up from afar, and certainly going to give you some shout outs when the show goes live or on iTunes. But thank you for what you're doing. You got a great story there, and just keep up the good work because you're spreading the love to different chiropractors.
Well, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun, and this is just the coolest setup ever. I love it.
Oh, dude, see, flattery will get you everywhere. All right, so thanks for listening to Edge of the Web Radio. We really appreciate the time you spend with us, as well as all of our listeners on audio. You can find us anywhere in iTunes, Google Play, Player FM, iHeartRadio. If we're not where you are, just ping us, and we'll get it over to you. Thanks for all the reviews and ratings, but we certainly would love for you to rate and review our stuff regularly because that's where we can get to our further audiences. So for all of us over here at Site Strategics and Edge of the Web, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate all of our colleagues for production as well as our guest, Dr. Ben Adkins. Make sure you check out all the must-see videos over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. Who's up next week, Tom?
Next week is the CMO of Yext, Jeff Roars.
Jeff Roars is back with us.
He's back.
Oh, very cool. So that's going to be a great interview. For all of us over Edge of the Web, do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.